Everybody, it's Tim. Welcome to Focus Friday. So today, I'm actually going to talk about focus, weirdly enough. So I don't know if your business is anything like mine, but there are a million bazillion things to do. My to-do list um, is basically endless. There's a never-ending onslaught of tasks that need to be accomplished. Now, as you may have noticed, or you may have heard, or if you've followed me for any length of time, you know that I have ADHD. So if I'm presented with a to-do list of 119 things, like I gave myself last week, I can't manage that. And so I want to walk you through how you can think about the never-ending onslaught of things that need to get done in your business in a sort of an effective way so that you are providing providing the expertise and the leverage that you as a company leader needs to in order to move your company ahead. So when you're looking at your giant to-do list, the very first thing is to identify those tasks that are what I call outcome independent. Like, it doesn't matter who does them, the outcome is the same. So for instance, something that was on my to-do list was bring Amazon returns to UPS store. Now, believe it or not, other people can do that just as well as I can. I know it's shocking, but it's true. And so I went through and itemized everything on my list that didn't need my touch. And I found other people to do it. So those sort of just evaporated for me. Like, I gave them to somebody else. And that, by the way, is the very first step that you need to do in your company. Is you need to start thinking, okay, what am I doing that it doesn't matter if I'm the one doing it? That is the first way to sort of get yourself to elevate. And then the next thing, so after I pulled those 50 things off my list, I still had a giant list of things that needed to happen. And the things that were left on my list had either, real time deadlines, or they were important somehow. And I did this weird thing that sort of helped me think about stuff differently. I looked at all of those things and thought about what was the worst possible thing that could happen if I didn't do them. And when I started to think about it, what happens if this doesn't get done? And I was realistic with myself. My to-do list really got a whole lot smaller because there are many things that we give ourselves as priorities and mark as urgent that maybe aren't. Now, they still might be important, but they're not urgent. So they can be pushed off, they can be put away for some other time, or you can actually hand them to someone else. And then so I was left with the stuff that was necessary. So there's stuff that I needed to do that was both important, and there was a consequence that I could see for not accomplishing that task. And so that was still so maybe there's 15 things on that list at that point. So then I was able to think, okay, I can plan out those things that have consequences for not getting them done, like things like filing your taxes, or if that's what you do, or filling out something that was on my list of things to do was filling out a sheet for the Department of Unemployment Assistance here in Massachusetts because we made some hires. So I had to do that thing because you can't not do it. But that had a deadline and it was on my to-do list, but the deadline is a little bit further away. It's not today. So I was able to throw that into next week's thinking. And I did that a couple of times. And so then I was left with this list of things that absolutely had to be done because there were negative consequences and they were time sensitive. But the magical thing that happened is the few things that were left, and I started to call them the focal few. Those focal few, the things that I was then able to look at and then prioritize in terms of benefit rather than or prioritizing in terms of negative consequence. When I took those focal few and I started to prioritize them as a benefit, via a potential benefit from getting these things done, wow, my entire thinking changed because suddenly my to-do list became an opportunity list rather than an obligation list. And the way that I'm wired, opportunity is really way more fun. So I was able to change my concept of thinking about task management from a concept of I manage my tasks because I want to be productive to I create the focal few that have the greatest impact on my progress. And so when I started thinking about progress versus productive versus to-do list, I realized that I am now focusing on the most core and important things that my business and my family need. And I now measure myself not in the number of things I knock off my to-do list, but rather how few things are on my to-do list that are creating progress. So try reimagining your prioritization from time-driven urgency, which is how most of us deal with to-do lists, or from a productivity standpoint, I knocked off 10 out of 10 things on my to-do list. And think of your task management, your to-do list, your focal few as the place where you can create the most progress and growth for your business and your family. And I don't know about you, but the concept of the focal few has been really liberating for me. And now I feel like I am working in total alignment with what my business needs and what my family needs. That's Focus Friday, the focal few. Have a great day.